Today, my nostalgic pick is the 1994 animated musical fantasy adventure romance directed by Don Bluth, Thumbelina. So let's get this thing started. Thumbelina is of course based on a book written by Hans Christian Andersen, and the movie lets you know not only that this is a story from a book, but that it's a classic. Up there with other titles like Romeo and Juliet, and even stories from the Bible like Samson and Delilah. Now, I like how this story starts to be told through the turning pages of a book. Short, yes, but effective.
One day, she paid a visit to a good witch who gave her a tiny barley corn.
This Don Bluth adaptation is actually pretty faithful to the original source, with a few changes of course. Like the added music, the right off the bat romance, the humor, and Thumbelina being more of a passive character. I believe this was done to give the film more of a love story with some added emotional depth. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's really subjective. There is no right or wrong answers. Now to me, I like no one's animation style more than Don Bluth. He is my favorite animated director of all time. From Banjo the Woodpile Cat to Anastasia, every single one of his films is done with stunning, beautiful animation, mixing classic Disney styles with amazing characters and backgrounds, but also adding his own style of dark haunting animation that goes well with the fantastic storytelling. And Thumbelina is no exception to this. It has that classic Don Bluth fingerprint all over it. But that being said, it does have its flaws, one being the strange way Thumbelina's dress moves at moments.
Thumbelina. Oh, it's a lovely name.
And that's not the only animated flaw in the film, and that has to do with the lack of time and money, and the pressure to compete with Disney. Rotoscoping, which is what Don Bluth's studio basically relied on, can be amazing. But with the lack of time and budget, you're just gonna have some flaws in the animation, and that's just what happened here. I can see how some people may not like the different animation styles and flaws in the film, but I'm okay with it and can still find beauty in this flawed animated movie.
What a beautiful voice.
In the original Hans Christian Andersen novel, it mentions Thumbelina as a beautiful singing voice, but of course there aren't any songs in the book. So when it came time for Mr. Bluth to decide the direction of the music for the film, he wanted a classic memorable score, so he personally approached Barry Manilow of all people. Simply because Manilow had a passion for musicals and wanted to return to his theatrical roots. This made Don Bluth see something in him. Now, I'm not really a fan of Barry Manilow's music, but I think Don Bluth was right in what he's seen in Mr. Manilow, because the music in Thumbelina is really good. Forget his pop hits like Mandy, no offense to the people who like it, I say all to his own, but I feel like he really shines doing musical scores like Thumbelina, which I believe is the best thing he's ever done. I like to call this scene the magical love ride, kind of like the magic carpet ride in Aladdin.
What?
Do you trust me?
They're both magical romance flight rides with characters who are falling in love with vibrant animation.
Hold on tight.
Not only that, but each magical ride is accompanied by the best musical number in each film. Aladdin with, of course, A Whole New World, and Thumbelina with the fantastic Let Me Be Your Wings. Now I encourage you to go look up the song Let Me Be Your Wings and go listen to it as a song by itself, because it's really good. I would like to point out that Aladdin's magic carpet ride is praised and talked about and loved for really good reasons, but Thumbelina's falling in love magical ride has never really got any of that. So yeah, I will be the one person to praise it, because it deserves it, and the song is amazing and should be remembered as an animated classic. Thumbelina was a box office flop, making only $17 million at the box office off of a $28 million budget. Besides Anastasia, this is pretty much how the 90s went for Don Bluth, and I don't know why. I love Rockadoodle, Thumbelina, and yes, even the much-hated Troll in Central Park. Maybe the Disney Renaissance era from 1989 to 1999 was just too massive to compete against. All I know is it saddens me that his movies didn't have more success through the 90s. But at the same time, I personally like when movies I enjoy are not loved by the masses. It turns me off for some reason. It doesn't make me like it less or anything, it just kinda bums me out, and I don't know why. So yeah, I guess I'm weird because I want the success for the artist, but also don't want the masses to love it at the same time. Which obviously both can't happen, so I guess we're back to I'm just weird. Thumbelina and the Little Mermaid have some common things, like both of the original stories were written by Hans Christian Andersen, and he used common themes like longing, belonging, sacrifice, transformation, and both have the classic fairy tale tropes like talking animals.
It's sunny, all right, but I'm not too sure about the nice.
Now, these are not the only things they have in common, as voice actress Jodie Benson, who voiced Ariel in Little Mermaid, also voiced Thumbelina. And Kenneth Mars voiced Ariel's father and Cornelius's father in Thumbelina, plus Will Ryan voiced a seahorse in The Little Mermaid and the dog named Hero in Thumbelina. These similarities are really cool. I like stuff like this. One thing I noticed when I watch Thumbelina is all the sparkles. I mean, they're everywhere. They're in the fairy's wings. It's used in the Beatles Club, and I can even see it in the snow. It looks like Mr. Bluth was really liking the effect and wanted it all over this film. And to be honest, it works really well on giving it a magical feel. The Animaniacs short I'm Mad was released in theaters with Thumbelina, and this Animaniacs segment would play, of course, before the movie, and it would be the one and only Animaniacs short to be in theaters. Now, how cool is that? Well, it's freaking awesome.
I want pancakes or a waffle. This tastes awful, as that's all we've got.
Later on, they would release the short as part of the Animaniacs TV series, which is pretty cool too. Remember how excited Thumbelina and the prince were about each other meeting each other's parents?
Will you meet my parents? Oh, say you will.
Well, it never happens in the movie. Yes, I know, Thumbelina got kidnapped and a lot happened. But even at the end of the movie, when it shows her at the Vale of the Fairies, it doesn't show them meet. And at the wedding, Thumbelina's mother's just there. It never shows him meet her either. It's just implied that they have by her being there. Unless this is him meeting her, I don't know. I can't really tell. I don't see any fairies myself, but who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe he is there. Now, I'm not complaining or trying to be negative in any way, because I love Thumbelina and I'm no critic. I like talking about things I like, and that's just who I am. And Don Bluth is a genius, and he chose not to include it, so I have to believe he did it to make it better. So it's not so much a complaint as it is a head scratcher. Now, it could have been just a time thing too. Of course, Thumbelina being a classic fairy tale has to have a classic fairy tale ending, with Thumbelina growing her wings, which is a pretty magical little scene.
Wings. I have wings.
And of course she gets to marry the prince and live happily ever after. I mean, it is a classic fairy tale. The last image you get to see before the credits is the end screen that looks very much like a Disney movie ending. Which is ironic, since Disney now owns Thumbelina due to the fact that they now own Fox. My Pick Nostalgic videos give me an opportunity to talk about and praise movies I love, and doing this video was a lot of fun. It took some hard work and headache to get this movie made. I mean, there was a lot going on in Bluth Studios at the time. But even with the mistakes, to me Thumbelina is a beautiful animated film with fun, interesting characters, filled with humor, obsession, greed, love, and bravery. Now, it may not have been a big box office hit, but it has gained a cult following status of loyal fans, myself being included. Now, Thumbelina may not be my favorite Don Bluth movie, but it's still really enjoyable and nice to look at with great characters. And Thumbelina is just one of those animated films I can bust on every few years and just fall in love with it all over again.
My name is Thumbelina. How do you do, sir?